The first two episodes of the brand new sci-fi thriller on Amazon Prime, The Peripheral, are now out. Today we're going to talk about this series and whether it works or not. What is up, Flick fans? Welcome back to my channel. Amazon sent me the first 6 episodes of The Peripheral. I have watched 4, and we'll be back at the end of the season to talk more details about this show. But today I'm going to give you my quick thoughts. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I am going to talk a bit more about the first 2 episodes that are already out for you all to see. By the way, thanks for joining me on Twitter last night. We did a live watch-along for episode 1. That was fun, but right now, I want to talk about this show. So Flynne Fisher, her Marine veteran brother, and their dying mother live in a small town in the Blue Ridge Mountains in 2032. As their mother's health deteriorates and the medical bills add up, Flynne and Burton make extra money playing simulations, also called Sims. The two siblings share Burton's avatar, jockeying for high-paying customers to beat challenging game levels. When Burton is offered a chance to beta test a new sim, it's Flynne who ends up playing, pretending to be her brother, and this sim takes place in London, 2099. But then they start to uncover that the institute that gave their family this new technology has put them all in grave danger, and there are people who now want Flynne dead. This series is rated TV mature for some unsettling bits of violence and gore, moderate profanity, moderate frightening and intense scene, and some sci-fi imagery that has nothing to do with the rating, but it will kind of blow your mind. For a television budget, I was so surprised, especially looking at this very futuristic version of London, how that looks on screen. If you're watching this on a massive TV, you're gonna have a great time because they look so good. The VFX from top to bottom, right? Not only these massive futuristic style landscapes, but you also have these artificial looking humans, androids, a couple of moments, one involving someone's eye. You've seen the first episode, you know what I'm talking about. That will make you uncomfortable because they do not hold back on how gruesome they are intended to be. This is based on a novel. A 2014 novel that unfolds across the span of 2 time frames and, of course, 2 continents. The settings are fascinating. You have this Appalachian community, and I can relate, being from Kentucky, in 2032, and a drastically different look at London in 2099, where the world operates differently, and it's just not as crowded as you would expect it to be. So there are underlying mysteries within this show that you uncover throughout the first, what I've seen, 4 episodes, and I'm sure we'll continue to uncover as we go. But then you have the relationship, the chemistry, the bond between this brother and sister, taking turns going into these virtual reality worlds. But this new virtual reality they've gotten a hold of, well, it seems like it's changing the game, but there's also something more to it than what they've had to deal with before. So it's up to us as a viewer to learn along with our characters. In that first episode, there are numerous moments where Grace Moretz, she finds out new information. You're learning that information as a viewer right along with her, so it almost raises the stakes. And getting to see this cutting-edge VR from this, I believe it was a Colombian company that's, interested in using his gaming skills to test this, right? It seems so simple at the beginning. But instead, Flynne decides to take part in this dangerous quest in London. But she has this feeling of, I've never been a part of virtual reality that has felt so real. Well, that is for a reason, but it goes deeper than that, right? On its surface, especially in the first episode, you have an idea as to where this series is going, right? You have our group of guys, Reynor and his military buddies, who are trying to keep them safe back home, and then everything happening in this version of London, and you're trying to put the puzzle pieces together as to how it all really ties in. I mean, we have an idea again, but what is actually happening here? But there's more at play as we dive in deeper. You get into episodes 3 and 4, and more mysteries begin to pile on top of each other. And some of these side characters, whether it be the characters in the future or the characters taking place in 2032, get a bigger role. Connor, for me, was the MVP when he first showed up in episode 1. I'm like, okay, I really like what this guy's all about. But you also have Lewis Hertham's character. He plays this local crime boss, and this guy is unafraid. He's vicious when he has to be. The character of Wilf, who's introduced, a future character, right? So you have the past and the future characters. All of them are fleshed out fairly well in the first couple of episodes. I could have used more in certain moments. I could have used the fleshing out of ideas a bit better just from what I've seen so far, because there is a bit of confusion as you get deeper into this mystery. And it's also just the idea of trying to figure out how these two worlds intersect, how the future has to do with the future. I mean, they're both the future, but one's the present. Does that make sense? You confused? The combination of things we're getting in the show and the performances, Chloe Grace Moretz, Jack Reynor, our two leads in particular, are fantastic, and the supporting cast does a nice job of pushing those characters forward. So all in all, what I've seen so far of The Peripheral is really entertaining, and I've seen some negative reviews, and I get it, right? It's a bit cliche. You know, we've seen sci-fi TV shows before, and it all does come down to how they continue to build on this mystery and how they execute the finale of this season. Like I said, I'll be back to talk more about that. But as of now, I'm engaged, I'm interested, and I can't wait to see more. Now, as you guys know, if I haven't seen the entirety of the season, I don't like to give a score. That's not fair to you. That's not fair to the series as a whole. But I am going to tell you that The Peripheral features two futuristic worlds that each have their own fascinating characteristics. Our two leads are caught up in a fun mystery throughout the season, and the visual effects are stunning. So far, so good. It's on track to being in the high 7s, the 8s. We'll see how we continue with the season. If we can fix some of these pacing problems, man, this could be one of the more fun shows I've seen this year. Chloe Grace Moretz does a nice job. I had a good time with this. I figured I would because the source material is fascinating, but I want to know if you've read the source material, if you're aware of what this show is supposed to be. Let me know your thoughts down below, and if you enjoyed the first 2 episodes. Okay, guys, I'll see you soon.